Hey everyone, in this video lesson we're going to review how to process your landscape astrophotos. I'm going to be using Adobe Photoshop Lightroom 5 for this demonstration, but the same concepts we'll cover here apply to basically any raw editor that you wish to use. For the example photo here, we have a photograph I took from Trona Pinnacles in California, and what you're seeing here is the Milky Way galactic center near the constellation Sagittarius. This particular image was taken with a Canon 6D and a Rokinon 24mm lens set to f1.4 with a 13-second exposure at ISO 3200. The very first thing that we're going to start with is white balance. But before we start adjusting our white balance, we want to boost the vibrance and saturation. We'll revert back to some less ridiculous levels of saturation a little bit later. The reason for this is that the colors of the night sky are rather subdued, and in order to get a more precise white balance setting, we want to be able to see what color everything is. Now we can start making our white balance adjustments by changing the temperature and tint sliders until we start seeing the most diverse selection of colors in our photo. It looks like this setting gives us the best combination of colors. You can see that we have a whole rainbow of colors here, from orange light pollution to green air glow and pink nebula. Now that we've done that, we should go ahead and return our vibrance and saturation down to a less ridiculous level. Just set them roughly neutral. The very next thing that I do once we have a neutral white balance is to increase the contrast of the image. This will accentuate the amount of vignetting or light falloff that the lens produces, so we can correct for it later. I usually like to use the tone curve control first. First, I'll boost the highlights to increase the brightness of the galactic center. We'll use a relatively strong contrast curve here to accentuate the details of the Milky Way. I'll pull down the shadows as well. My recommendation is just to concentrate on what the center of the image looks like for now, and don't worry too much about the light fall off on the corners of the photo. Once we have a really contrasty image, we can then correct for those dark corners by using the vignetting correction to bring up the brightness. Just make enough adjustments so that you have nice even tones across the image. I like to leave a little bit of light fall off just for the effect that it creates. Finally, we can do some minor tweaks on the brightness of the image just by adjusting the exposure slider, and bring back some of the colors by boosting the saturation and vibrance sliders. So that covers the most basic processing for your astrophotos. Take a look at the before and after comparison to see how much a difference it made. Now that the image is processed, it should be ready to export for sharing.